Ever think about, like, the unsung heroes who keep us safe from fires? And no, I'm not talking about firefighters. Obviously, those guys are incredibly brave. I'm talking about the people who make sure those sprinkler systems actually, you know, do their thing when a fire breaks out. Sprinkler fitters. And hey, you've shown interest in this career path, and luckily, we've got RoleCatcher's Guide to give us the inside scoop.
Yeah, it's a career path that most people don't even think about, but it's so important. A lot of folks hear sprinkler fitters and just think about like pipes and wrenches, but it's way more complicated than that.
Right. The guide even mentions like technical expertise and stuff. What does that even mean, though? It's not like you need to be a computer whiz to, put pipes together.
That's where you'd be wrong. You're dealing with complex building codes, fire suppression systems, even like smart technology, things like BIM software and sensors. You have to understand how to do hydraulic calculations to make sure the water pressure is right. You might even work with these, what are they called, pre-action systems that use air pressure to hold back the water until the last second.
Wow. I honestly had no idea. It sounds like this job takes a lot more brains than I thought. It's like a weird mix of hands-on work and like technical stuff, almost like a tech-savvy tradesperson, I guess.
Exactly. And don't forget about problem solving. Imagine you're on a job, right? And the pipes you need don't fit quite right with the existing structure. You can't just give up. You need to figure out a solution that works and still follows those super strict building codes we were talking about.
Oh, for sure. It sounds like this career really forces you to think on your feet and adapt, you know?
Absolutely. And it's not just about adapting to different situations. The technology's changing all the time, too. This isn't your grandpa's sprinkler system. We're seeing a huge shift towards smarter systems that can tell the difference between types of fires and respond the right way.
So, we've established that this isn't like your typical plumbing job, right?
Right.
But how do you even get started in something like this? It seems pretty specialized. I mean, the Role Catcher Guide mentions a career trajectory, so that's something.
Yeah, so usually you'd start with an apprenticeship. That's where you really learn the ropes from the pros, the hands-on stuff. It's not just about tightening pipes, though. You're reading blueprints, figuring out system designs, and wrapping your head around all those building codes.
It's like a real-world experience with actual experts, right?
Yeah.
I bet those apprenticeships are tough to get into.
They can be, yeah. But that's where the certifications come in. The ones the guy talks about, like the AFSA, that's the American Fire Sprinkler Association, and NICET, the National Institute for Certification in Engineering Technologies. Having those credentials under your belt can really make a difference.
So it's not enough to just have experience. You need something to prove your skills and knowledge, right? Do those certifications like affect how much you can earn?
Big time. The guide mentions that having specific certifications can really bump up your salary potential, especially you gain experience.
Yeah.
Like, let's say you're a journeyman sprinkler fitter. If you've got a NICET Level 2 certification, you're likely to earn more than someone who doesn't have it. And then, as you progress and get more certifications, you could even become a supervisor or start your own business.
Now that's what I'm talking about. There's real potential for growth here. It's not a dead-end job at all. Speaking of getting ahead, the guide also talks about AI and how it's changing how companies hire people.
Yeah, it's not as easy as just sending out resumes anymore. You got to outsmart the bots.
Beating the bots, that's what they called it, right? Sounds kind of sci-fi, but AI is a big deal in hiring these days. How does that even work?
Okay, imagine a company gets like hundreds of applications for just one job. Instead of having someone read through every single resume, they use these algorithms to scan them, looking for specific keywords, skills, things that match the job description.
So it's like a digital bouncer at a club, only letting in the right people.
Exactly. And that means your resume has to be tailored for those algorithms. You need to use the right words and phrases that they're looking for. That's where RoleCatcher can really help, by the way. They have tools that analyze job descriptions and show you how to optimize your resume so it gets past those AI filters.
That's so helpful, especially in such a competitive job market. But, I mean, are employers just using RoleCatcher to filter out candidates?
Actually, it's more than that. They also use it to actively find people they want to hire. Think of it like a two-way street. When you have a good profile on the platform, you're basically saying, hey, I'm here and I've got the skills you need.
You're using the bots to your advantage. It's like fighting fire with fire.
Exactly. And that leads us to another important point from the guide. Networking. Building relationships is still important, even with all this technology.
Yeah, even with all the fancy algorithms and stuff, personal connections still matter, right?
100%. And that's another area where RoleCatcher really shines. They have networking tools, so you can connect with other people in the industry, find mentors, even potential employers.
It's like your one-stop shop for like your entire career journey, finding training, certifications, landing your dream job, even networking. We've talked about the technical stuff, how to progress in your career, even AI and hiring. But realistically speaking, no job is perfect. What about the downsides? The guy doesn't shy away from the not so fun parts of the job, does it?
You're right. Being a sprinkler fitter can be really demanding physically. Think tight spaces, working high up, heavy equipment.
It's definitely not a desk job, that's for
Yeah.
sure. But there's got to be a certain satisfaction that comes with it, right? Knowing that what you do keeps people safe.
Oh, yeah, definitely. There's a real sense of pride in knowing you're installing systems that could actually save lives. And don't forget about the variety. One day you might be in a skyscraper. The next you're working on, like, a historical building, and then maybe even a super high-tech data center. You never know.
That's true. It's not just about the work itself, it's also the impact and the different places you get to see. But even with all that, it sounds like this is a career for a specific type of person. Someone who's not afraid of hard work, who's comfortable with technology, and is a natural at solving problems.
You got it. This job requires a mix of, like, physical and mental agility. You need to be detail-oriented to work with these complex systems, but also able to adapt when things go wrong on a job.
So it's not just about putting out fires, it's about preventing them from happening in the first place. And that takes a special set of skills, knowledge, and dedication.
Exactly. And with all the information we're getting from this RoleCatcher guide, you can really figure out if this is the right career path for you based on your own skills and what you're looking for in a job.
It's kind of wild when you think about it. We started with this idea of a sprinkler fitter, which, sounds pretty straightforward, right? But look where we ended up. AI, the future of fire safety tech, the whole nine yards, really makes you realize how important it is to like really dig into things.
Totally. And that seems to be like the whole point of role catching, right?
Yeah.
Giving you the tools and information you need to figure out this whole work thing, especially now that it's gotten so complicated.
It's like having one of those fancy GPS things, but instead of just telling you where to go, it's showing you how to get there, teaching you the rules of the road, even introducing you to other drivers on the same route.
I like that. That's a great way to put it. And speaking of being prepared, there's one thing we haven't really talked about yet, the interview. Even with a perfect resume and all the right certifications, you still have to nail that interview.
Totally. At the end of the day, it's not just about checking boxes on a form. You have to show them your passion, how you think and solve problems, how you communicate, all that good stuff.
For sure. And guess what? RealCatcher has resources for that too. They have these guides on common interview questions, tips on highlighting your skills, even advice on how to follow up afterwards. Yeah.
Seriously, it's like they've thought of everything. So for anyone out there who's like fired up about this whole sprinkler fitter thing, what's the main takeaway here? What should they remember?
Hmm. I'd say the most important thing is this. There's a ton of opportunity in this field, but you got to be willing to put in the work. Get those certifications, keep practicing your skills, and don't underestimate technology or networking.
And research. Don't forget about research. Rollcatcher's guide was super helpful, gave us a lot to think about, but it's just the beginning, right? The more you learn, the better prepared you'll be to decide if this is the right career path for you.
Couldn't agree more. This deep dive has been, like, eye-opening, don't you think?
Hmm.
We learned so much about a job that most people don't even notice, but it's crucial for keeping everyone safe.
Absolutely. It really goes to show that every job has its own, like, hidden complexities, interesting challenges, and unique rewards. So, to everyone listening, if you found this even a little bit interesting, don't stop here. Check out the resources we mentioned, do some digging of your own, and hey, who knows, maybe someday you'll be the one installing those high tech fire safety systems. That's all the time we have for today. Until next time, keep exploring and keep those questions coming.